Pick out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
Our
News.
24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back now. It's still called Digest Extra, and this is our discussion segment. We'll be taking a look at ahead of 2015 general elections. Issues and controversies. A whole lot of issues are coming up right from last 2 weeks or the week that we just reviewed a while ago, talking about the scaling offense of the federal lawmakers. Also look at the PVCs and so much of issues coming up in the news right now. And joining us in the studio to discuss this is a public affairs analyst, Bolava. Thank you for joining us on Call Digest Extra.
Thank you very much for the opportunity once again.
And the Bolava that when you see comes with a red cap and a red shoe.
Always, yeah.
Does that have anything to do with Shango or something?
Oh, yes.
Shango, look also. That's incantation in the studio. Really? Maybe that's what Nigeria needs as we approach 2015?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
It's what? Anyway, let's quickly get down to some of the issues we're having. First of all is the issue of the federal lawmakers scaling fences, and a whole lot of people have said this is a national embarrassment for the nation and democracy, especially as we approach the 2015 general elections. What is your impression about this?
Those who said that there are people who are lacking in the knowledge of parliamentary history. When we sit down in a studio environment like this and we call words, parliament, we name some institutions, we don't know that there are so many historical this thing that went into some of the names we call. You may not know that as far back as the 13th century, Parliament has been asserting the right to be independent of the executive, to be independent of the king. Indeed, it was Parliament and the English gentry asserting the right of independence that gave us what today is celebrated as the Magna Carta. And you must remember that in the 15th century, maybe some of your viewers may not know, a certain gentleman came into the history of England and eventually into the history of the world, Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell was a parliamentarian who led a band of parliamentarians against Charles I, against the king, to assert the independence of Parliament. Whenever in any jurisdiction in the world, look at all the countries of the world and use this as a criterion of development. Any country in the world, wherever you see the parliament to be supine or subservient to the executive, you will not see development. Mm-hmm. The parliament must always be very assertive. If they want a supine parliament, they shouldn't usher us into democracy. We should have stayed in military government. Somebody had the temerity to send the police to go and harass parliamentarians. If I was a parliamentarian, I would jump that wall. I told one of your on another platform that if I was a parliamentarian, I would not only jump the wall, I would attack the policeman.
But what if some of them are really scared for their life, and so that a lot of them who jumped the fence that day were like, oh, this is not only because we want to do our duty, but we are also scared for our life. Fighting. You said if you're a parliamentarian.
If I was a parliamentarian, I would not only jump that fence, I would attack the policeman. I said some people fought wars.
So let's talk about
it should not be seen anywhere.
The action of
because you disagree with the parliament, you send policemen to go and harm them.
Okay, so go ahead, Ebo.
The Inspector General of Police appeared before the House this week that we just spent and refused to recognize Aminu Tambuwal as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He actually said it would be sub judice for him to do that. What's your reaction on that?
Look at the logic. He initially said that he could not refer to Tambuwal as the Speaker of the House of Representatives because according to him he was no speaker, but he eventually said the gentleman is a disgrace to that uniform. I have never seen, maybe in the days of Baya Adewusi, when I was a boy and MPN was using the Nigerian police as a phalange, the thuggish department of the MPN. But this gentleman at this juncture is now a bona fide disgrace to the Nigerian police force. Because as we see, as it is now, he is nothing but the errand boy of the ruling party, and it's a disgrace. It's unfortunate because some people are taking Nigerian police force to a higher, relatively higher. We are not saying they've gotten there, but we are even at the point thought they've moved beyond the level. But what do you expect of a man who used to be the ADC to Abacha's wife? What do you expect of a man like that? That is why even in selection and appointment, we must be looking at people's antecedents. He used to be Abacha's wife's ADC.
So are you saying that he should resign?
He is not a honorable man. He's a disgrace to that uniform and is a stigma to that institution. Honestly, it's just that the police cannot protest. Some elements, some cultured members of the Nigerian police force already know now that this one is a hangover.
Okay, let's move away from the issue of the Speaker of the House of Representatives because the matter is in court as we speak, and until that matter gets out of court and we get a statement from there, we might not be able to go further into the state of things. Now let's get to the issue of the distribution of permanent voter cards. Have you gotten yours?
Permanent voter's card. I've registered. I've not gotten my PVC.
Okay.
I registered. They gave me a printout that is laminated.
It means you are in the same position with the governor of Lagos State, Fashola, Governor Babatunde Fashola. Would like to have what the governor of Lagos State's reaction is to the distribution of the PVC before we continue on the discussion for today.
INEC is the biggest threat to our democracy. They set dates that they haven't met. They said this exercise will take place between the 7th and the 9th. We mobilized, we spent money. I addressed the state at least not less than twice. We held stakeholders meetings, getting people ready. We put all of those resources out there only for INEC to change the game in the middle, to say that it is no longer all the local governments. They broke it into two. We tried to understand that, okay, they will do 11 and then later come to do 9. Now the 9 are not ready. The 11 have been handled in a very, very unsatisfactory way from the comments that I have received. I have gone. So if I, the governor of the state, who was elected, cannot even vote, it says a lot about what INEC has really done here. And you see, they went to post the notice there overnight and saying that we should all just go and register. So they just cancelled my polling unit in effect. I have my temporary voter's card, and I expect all those who have their temporary voter's card to keep them, because INEC registered us, and it cannot deregister us because we are still alive. We are not dead. And INEC must find a way to ensure that if it cannot produce our permanent voter's card, it must allow us to use the temporary voter's card to vote.
And that's the governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, talking about him not getting his permanent voter card. Now, what is the implication of all these irregularities on the 2015 general elections?
It's unfortunate that INEC has handled this registration process the way it is now. This one is unfortunately a failure. It's just that from the position I'm in, I once did a transaction with LASTRA, the Lagos State Resident Registration Agency, and they are not any better. Maybe it's a curse on us in Africa, I don't know. Simple database management issue that we see done every day. People will just handle it, especially when it's in the public space. Virtually all the companies I run or the entities I deal with, they do this. If you buy on most of these online once you just visit them once, not even buy anything from them, once you open some of these popular websites, some of these once you open it, you will just discover that anywhere you go, their images will be chasing you. That is database management, simple database management. And once it comes to the public sphere in Nigeria, it's easy for Fashola to be saying that, but I once lost my LASTRA card, wanted to do something in Alausa and I needed my LASTRA card. I went to LASTRA, went there, was even ready to pay because, come to think of it, I've gotten used to the idea of being punished, pecuniarily. Living abroad, if you've been given something and you lose it, you will pay to get it, refurnished to you. I went there, wanted to pay. It took LASTRA more than a month to call me back. That initially they said their server was down. What's the difference? But you see, for INEC, it's a disgrace. What has happened in Lagos, I don't know about any other places, but the degree to which people really warmed up to wanting to engage with the system to register, and the degree of frustration that was, that people experienced, and the fact that as we speak now, the whole electoral registration, this thing is still a mess at this juncture in Lagos. I don't know about any other state.
So what you are saying is that election in Lagos in 2015 may not be successful as we expect.
You don't even have an electoral roll that has integrity at this juncture. You don't have an electoral roll that has integrity. Let's be very honest with ourselves. It's not my word. Just randomly call 10 Lagosians, and you'll be very, 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 very displeased with the level of responses you get from them.
In almost time, we've come up with such, problem, challenges during exercise such as this, and INEC will always come up with, okay, we will do something about it. Are you saying that
they ran themselves into this cul-de-sac? Because ordinarily, people at some point were given temporary cards, temporary voters cards. They've been carrying their temporary voters cards. You say in the forthcoming election, people would have to vote or to be eligible to approach their polling units with a PVC, permanent voter card. Now, you, in saying that, know that it is incumbent on you to issue permanent voters card to all those who have temporary voters cards because they registered with you. The first thing that knocked me silly, where I registered now as the first time registrant, the totality of what had been done in that polling unit before was said to have been lost. How could data have been lost like that? Not in one place, not in two places. Multiple cases of data being lost.
Are you suspecting any foul play with the data?
You see, it's easy sometimes to suspect foul play. It's easy to want to say, for one party to say the other party is trying to cheat. Where I am now, the methodology they want to use now It's not a methodology with which you can cheat with. We are talking of a methodology that does not only capture your face, but capture your biometrics. You know, fingerprints from... It's just unfortunate that we have a culture of being like a bicycle and being just laid back with the way we manage vital assets of state. But you see, it pains me. It pains me when we try to do what ordinarily... Look, INEC could ordinarily have contracted this thing to a third-party entity.
But if you are in a shoe to advise INEC, Professor Atairu Jega, who is the chairman of INEC, now, what advice in terms of getting a perfect system to ensure a hitch-free? Because a lot of people are saying the 2015 elections, general elections, is critical to the unity of this nation. What would be the best advice?
At this juncture, I don't know what that gentleman can do anymore. He has failed in respect of the integrity of the electoral roll with which we are going to approach that election. He has failed.
So you're saying the 1 month and 15 days we have before the elections, nothing can be done to make up for this?
I don't see what they are doing differently from their stopgap, do nothing to conclusion, this thing that they did when they did for the 11 local governments, and they are now doing. I don't see anything they're doing tremendously differently.
Okay, it's Core Digest Extra, and with us is Bola Oba, public affairs analyst, and the representative of Shango Lukoso in the studio this morning. We'll take a break for a commercial and we'll be back.
In February 2015, Nigerians will vote for their next president. So we asked one simple question. What do Nigerians need?
A vibrant economy.
Make business better.
A safer environment for my family.
Better school for my children. Strong leadership. Unity.
This is a beautiful country. We're enterprising, optimistic, and we are also resilient. There are many issues that affect us all, but I believe together we can resolve them and overcome them.
Schools are often inaccessible, ill-equipped, or simply not conducive learning environments. Without education, our children cannot achieve their potential.
No nation can rise above the level of educated people. Education is not a luxury, but it's a must for everybody, for every human being.
My classroom is the Nigeria of tomorrow.
Poverty is the enemy of progress. Nigeria must create opportunity for its people to thrive.
I want to work to provide for my family.
Nigeria has to empower the private sector to continue to play its role as the biggest and largest job creator. Small scale, medium scale, large scale entrepreneurs must be encouraged.
Safety and security are concerns for all Nigerians.
I want my child to grow up in a safe Nigeria.
The primary responsibility of any government, and as enshrined in our constitution, is to protect the lives and property of individuals. It is only with security that the inhabitants of this country will be able to unleash all their potentials in terms of development, in terms of enterprise. So it is essential that government pays attention.
What do Nigerians need?
A leader that understands the importance of education.
Atiku Abubakar is the founder of a chain of schools that provide quality education of a standard comparable to any country in the world.
Someone that understands the economy.
Someone to create an enabling environment for jobs.
Atiku Abubakar understands business. In fact,
He's one of the largest private employers in Adamawa and Rivers states.
A leader that can unite the nation, north, south, east, and west.
Atiku Abubakar transcends tribalism and religious sentiment.
A leader with experience.
Atiku Abubakar spent 20 years in the public service, served for 8 years as Vice President of Nigeria, and was Chairman of the National Economic Council. He's qualified to lead our nation to a brighter tomorrow.
This is one of the greatest countries in Africa and in the world. This country is blessed. With the right kind of administration, this country can be transformed. So it is my desire to give back to this country all that is within my power to do. I am Atiku Abubakar. Together we can build a Nigeria for all.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.
It's good to have you back in the studio. It's called Digest Extra the Saturday morning, and during the break we could not stop talking about the red cap and the red shoe of our guest today, Boloba. And you might ask why, but really in this part of the world we believe in the deities, we believe in jazz, okay? That's the street language. I'm talking about charms. And you know, my producer reminded me of what happened in Osun State when one of the APC leaders actually said, come 2015 Boguwalama Dirawa. Do you know what that means? We are going to package ourselves in such a way that we're going to be protected and probably guard against the rigging of elections and protect our vote. But talking about the security of vote in 2015, the state elections we've had recently in Osun, in Ekiti, we saw what some people describe as the militarization of election. How do you see us protecting our votes, lives and property come 2015?
What happened in Ekiti and Osun in terms of the so-called militarization, I was here and I was on other TV stations. I supported it. I supported it because in any economy where you will deploy the best of your security infrastructure to guard an industry that is the most booming industry. Politics is the most booming industry in Nigeria. Politicians are die-hard, opportunistic lot. So, if you don't make sure, can you move money carelessly in Lagos? You can't move money carelessly in Lagos now. Can you move money carelessly in Alaba market? You must put security to it. Because politics is the biggest business in this country now, I cannot see for the foreseeable future, maybe not in my lifetime, that, you know, security will not be deployed well enough to at least serve as a deterrence to some opportunistic and adventurous politicians. But that does not mean that the election that took place in Ekiti, the election that took place in Osun, they were free. The ballotings were free. The ballotings were free. Okay. The electoral process was abused when those who were supposed to be the guardian of security, or people who are supposed to protect security, some elements intimidated the people. But on the day of the election in those two states, people came out freely. Indeed, they had fantastic turnover. They had good turnovers because people knew they were safe. So, I would want to believe that that is not what Ashadwala Tinubu is making an issue of. But I want to believe that what he's making an issue of is the duty of the electors to make sure that the votes they've cast is respected, and it ultimately culminates into what will be the result of this thing. And that happened in Ekiti, that happened in Osun. In Ekiti, APC did not like it, but the balloting was free in Ekiti. And Fayose won.
Okay, so...
And in Osun,
yes,
you know, irrespective of the intimidation that some of the security operatives were used to, in Osun, votes counted too. And the winner emerged the winner. He was sworn in. Therefore, and that's why they're talking about...
If it took that much security and troops to guard votes in a state, do you think we have enough security apparatus to guide the whole nation for the general elections?
I've had that logic before, and I've also, you know, in times past, I've also, you know, posited that logic. But the truth too is that when the theater of operation expands, the number of talks too are limited. So the number of talks too will be dissipated.
Okay.
Concentration on the side of opportunity to concentrate talks into one state naturally led to the increase of security operatives in the state. Once we are having a general election, then you will not be able to export Lagos talk to Osun. You will not be able to export Anambra talk to Abia. Anambra talk will sit in Anambra. Anambra police will face Anambra talk.
Okay, let's quickly move to this up sound, which came from Ekiti State, from the governor of Ekiti himself, that was responding to the former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, who last week said this present administration has not done well as it concerns security and has not tackled the issue of corruption very well. We'll go in to take that up sound now, and we'll be back for the reaction of our guest.
President Olusegun Obasanjo will come to you and talk small. And I said to you, Your Excellency, even if you give your blood, your being, your strength and your life to President Obasanjo, he will not support you. We know him more than you know him. He will not ever want a man with an independent mind. When Obasanjo accuses people and government of the day of corruption, what happened to the 50 million share during the third term agenda? The donation of 10 million to the Obasanjo library, what do you call that? That is corruption. Go and look for the code of conduct. The funds filled by General Obasanjo and his wealth today. We knew when he came out of prisons. We knew the situation. We knew his wealth when he left office. Who is he accusing? We are telling you again, the moment he says the next one, we will engage him. This is not a country where after serving your own tenure, what you cannot take, you are giving to others. Enough is enough.
People are sick and tired of this administration. So many people, Mr. Chairman, over this period of time were killed. Nobody can even tell you how many people were killed, even in the last 1 week. Killings everywhere, in the market, on the roads, in the churches, in the mosques, everywhere, Mr. Chairman. People in this country believe that those who are supposed to protect them either have no capacity to stop the killing and destruction of properties, or they are enjoying it. Whichever, Mr. Chairman, is not good enough for all of us. We have the resources in this country to stop or to protect ourselves. We have seen things, Mr. Chairman, over the years. A situation in the past where Nigeria had Africa as the center of its foreign policy. In other words, Mr. Chairman, we are comfortable at home, we are in peace. We are even thinking of our brothers and sisters as far away as South Africa and other parts of this continent. Today, Mr. Chairman, we have seen that the situation has been completely reversed. Not only bigger countries like South Africa and so on, even smaller countries.
Well, there you have it, the statement from the governor talking about Rabiu Kwankwaso, the governor of Kano State, there, making a statement berating the tenure of President Jonathan. That he's not doing enough. 5 years of insurgency. And earlier we also looked at what Fayose was talking about replying to Obasanjo's statement that Jonathan's administration is corrupt. Now let's come back to you now. What is the impression about this? Do you think you have to wait for someone to make a statement for you to take him up? Talking about Fayose and Obasanjo.
Fayose had always said Obasanjo was corrupt. Fayose, you know, I'm not here to defend Fayose. I used to be very close to him. When Fayose was the first-time governor in Ekiti, I was his PR coordinator in Europe. I used to be very close to him. And Fayose, you know, even when he left, maybe people don't have. He's a new media, he's a new news organization anyway. Fayose had always stated that Obasanjo is corrupt and that he speaks from the two sides of his mouth, that he's a fantastic hypocrite. Obasanjo will be preaching at you what he will not do. So if it's anybody else you want to talk to, it should not be Fayose, because he had consistently said it, that although at the point he also worked for Obasanjo for the elongation, for the tenure elongation, this thing. All unfortunately, it was in doing that for Obasanjo that got him into problem.
So are you saying that there's a kind of a relationship turning into what do I call it now? A severe relationship.
They used to be very this thing.
What do you make of a statement by Rabiu Kwankwaso, Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso, that the Jonathan's administration is not doing well in terms of fighting insurgency?
You see, when you look at that statement from the viewpoint of partisanship, you will see that it loses its shine. But the truth is that where we are now, the federal government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the only agency of state that controls the machinery, effective machinery of security. And if that is failing, the bulk should stop on the table.
Does it look like the issue of security is really failing now, talking about fighting insurgency? Do you think it's going out of government's hand or beyond control that the government can fight?
Where we are now at this juncture, it looks like the government is limping behind the criminal, devious elements within us. The government is not in control, you know. They used to say we are on top of it, or we are in control of it. It does not seem like they are in control. So they need to also gear up. You know, life has become. But you see, coming from Kwankwaso, you would think politicians, they are the same. But the truth is that remove politics from the picture and talk to an average Nigerian, do you feel as safe? You can't even go to some parts of Nigeria as we speak.
We have a call from Ernest in Oshobo. Good morning, Ernest.
Madam, how are you?
We're fine here in the studio. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, my own contribution this morning is that the way these politicians are doing things in Nigeria, I'm not happy with it, because when I was happy to hear General Muhammad Buhari telling us that we are leaders of tomorrow, I was 3 years old that I used to get Radio Nigeria. Now I'm old, 30-something, with a child, married. My child now is still here about Buhari again. What's going on in this Nigeria? Why can't those old fools stop and let the new ones come up? We are hungry. This is the appraisal they are going to do tomorrow and next tomorrow. Nothing. It's just all of us. My son now, how some can stay here in Buhari? It's not if time is not taken. My son's son will see here about Buhari and I took again. They will still tell them that they are seeing leaders of tomorrow. When are we going to be the leaders of tomorrow? Tell me, I want to hear from you people. I want to hear from Buhari. I want to hear from Obasanjo because when I was little, I used to hear leaders of tomorrow. I'm now a married man with children. My children are still hearing the same Buhari, Obasanjo, Atiku.
Thank you very much, Ernest. And you heard what he's saying. He's talking about the older men in politics today. When are the younger ones going to become the leaders of tomorrow, as we've always heard?
It's very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate because I give this example to people always. In 1997, I was a member of the Conservative Party in England. I was a contestant on the platform of the Conservative Party in London, in St. Mary's Ward of London Borough of Greenwich. The incumbent Prime Minister of the United Kingdom was not in the firmament of those that I knew as the leaders of the Conservative Party.
All right.
And today, less than 50, he is the Prime Minister of England. New ideas are coming into governance in the country. We are stuck with people that we've known from about the 70s, or from about 1965. We are stuck with them. It's a disaster.
Okay, thank you very much, Egolaba, for coming to the studio, or Paul Digest Extra, rather. Well, we have to take a break now. When we come back, Paul Digest Extra continues with a close-up, or up close if you call it, anyone you prefer. With Ero JJ. We'll be back right after this time out.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.